Considering you had already played a doctor in another TV show, that's Hart of Dixie, what kind of differences did you detect between Dr. Vernon Mullins and Dr. Brick Brilland?
You know, Hart of Dixie was a wonderful experience. It was much lighter and it was more comedic and less serious and less medicine. There was, slight bit of medicine, but we didn't really focus on the medicine too much. It was more about the characters and their families and their interactions in this little town. And so it, but in my life, I played a lot of doctors. I mean, when I think the first television series I did, the first television series I starred in after Bonanza and Virginia, and when I was the Westerns I was in, I did a Western with Kurt Russell called The Quest. And we did, I think, 13 episodes, 15 episodes. And I was a doctor. And I think might have been the first time I played a doctor. And then subsequently in so many different movies and films, even in Animal House, Eric Stratton, the Rush chairman, became a gynecologist in Beverly Hills, so he was a doctor. So there must be something about me that is, I have a good bedside manner, perhaps, and but it's always, it's fun and challenging. In Hart of Dixie, the medicine wasn't so challenging. We're now more, especially in Virgin River, spend more time making sure that that's exactly right, and it's a bigger part of the show. And we're not as comedic and light spirited as that. We're much more, Virgin River is much more earnest and about the relationships between the people and all the different ages and stories that are going on in this little town all at the same time.
And what was your favorite memory of Hart of Dixie set?
Well, my favorite was, I guess, Rachel Bilson is such a tremendously warm and gracious person. And she had just a way of setting a tone on a show that she's the star, and she was gracious and loving and kind and generous to everyone, crew. And so it sort of sets a standard by which you realize, because some shows aren't fun, I mean, sometimes we all have our work, and sometimes it's more fun than others, and this job's good and that job's not. But boy, I tell you, sometimes you get on a show and it's like, oh dear, is it worth it? And it was really the first time I'd been in a series where I was in almost every episode, and there a lot, most of every day. And I was directing too. And so they became my family. And that was the first time I'd really spent that much time on a show. We went on for 4 years, and I realized and learned how close a group of people, cast and crew and writers and the network as well, the studio, can grow over time, and how most of the time in my career prior to that, the last previous 25 years, I was doing TV movies, I was directing episodic, so I'm jumping from job to job to job, and you don't really get too close to the cast or crew of any show because you're only there for 3 weeks. So you just pop in and out. But this was a chance for me to develop long-term relationships with people and that you enjoy spending time with.
And that's really beautiful to hear, considering also the tough environment you're working on, being actors, there are sets with this beautiful and family environment.
Yes. Yeah. And it's and acting should, listen, there are tougher jobs in the world, and you know, and working in construction and digging trenches, and I mean physically more demanding jobs to do than acting. It's a gift and a blessing that I continue to do what I've done all my life, and I love it. I still love it. I get on a set and I just know, I know what everybody's doing. I know everybody's job. I know how they do it. And but it's one of those things that I think that, you know, as time goes by, you have to learn, you know, you have to learn the dialogue. And then the trick is, and as a director, I've even gotten more specific about this. I don't like to do a lot of takes. You know, I've worked with Clint Eastwood, and Clint never liked to do a lot of takes. He often shot the rehearsal. And when actors are loose and they don't, and because everybody tenses up sometimes when you're shooting and all that, and action, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh. So I often try and just keep it real relaxed and everybody loose, so that we don't get caught acting, you know. And if you really do your homework, it's not that hard, especially if you're working with other good actors, you know. And it's a real treat. It's a treat to, you know, and the other treat about it is you can step outside of who you are and become someone else. And it's a great relief. You know, most people, we're just who we are every day. But when you're acting, you get a chance to pretend to be somebody else who has similar humanity to yourself, but the character emphasizes certain other parts of your personality that you don't do. And it's a great relief to stop being you for a while.
Yeah.